6 figures of tax-free income in 10 years or less. In this video, I'm going to show you how. Did you know that 90% of Americans hate their jobs? Now, are you one of them? According to the Wall Street Journal, post-pandemic job switching rates have skyrocketed. Yet, job satisfaction, it's lower than it's ever been, even if you're making good money. A tense economy might have you feeling stagnant, stressed about layoffs, and wondering if it's ever going to be enough. Increasing inflation and market volatility might have you questioning if, despite your very best efforts, you'll ever save enough money to retire from this rat race. At this point, you might be asking yourself, can I actually do this every day for the rest of my life? Many people today are desperately searching for the cure, for agency and autonomy, for a sense of ownership over their life and over their time. What if I told you that the solution is actually simpler than you might think? In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I walked away from my 6-figure salary in the corporate world in just 4 years, and how with a very simple strategy, you can take back control over your money, your life, and ultimately your time. Hi, I'm Ryan D. Lee, a non-traditional financial strategist. I help people take control over their money and their life by creating a passive income machine to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less. I've done it myself, and I've helped hundreds of others do the same. And I know with the right mindset and strategy, you can too. In 2008, I watched my 401k and IRAs drop like a rock.
More than 6% right now. Google about...
Not disappoint. 400 points higher. They're down by between 3 and 4.5%.
And I wasn't alone. Everyone with money in the market was losing big. While there was solace in not being the only one, I couldn't help but think we were all idiots for riding this market roller coaster, hoping that it would lead us to the top and not inevitably drop us off at the bottom, having lost all of our money and all of our time. I realized in 2008 that we were all just along for the ride. After watching my accounts drop by over 70% during the months leading into 2008, I decided to abandon the conventional financial advice and explore alternative investing. Initially, it was exciting, but I soon realized this world, alternative investing, it lacked regulation and it lacked massive predictability. Many people were just chasing the elusive higher returns in an increasingly uncertain investment options. For those of you who've dabbled in the alternative investment world, you know that most of it is hype. You can experience higher highs, but the crashes can be devastating, sometimes even wiping you out completely. But no matter what I tried, I couldn't find the one thing that I craved: ownership. For the first time, I craved this concept of ownership. I wanted to control my investments rather than sitting back and hoping things would work out for me. In Robert Allen's book, Creating Wealth, the subtitle is what actually caught my attention: Retire in 10 years using Allen's 7 principles of wealth. Now listen, a principle is a timeless and indisputable truth. And the main principle Bob was sharing in his book was a simple strategy. If you bought 20 single-family homes over 10 years, you would become completely financially free and get 6 figures or more of tax-free income for life. His success path was very straightforward. Buy 2 single-family homes per year, do it for 10 years straight, and in year 11, you'll be financially free. I remember reading this book, and for the first time, I found a strategy that made sense. Owning 20 single-family homes would allow me to take control over my financial plan. I would own assets in real demand, solving real problems for real people. Ownership, it was the key. So I dove in. I didn't just dabble, I went all in. Over the next 4 years, I bought 17 single-family homes. Now listen, I pulled out all the stops. I found ways to get creative, and in an attempt to accelerate Allen's 10-year time frame, I decided to do everything I could possibly do to acquire single-family homes. Now listen, I really wanted out of the corporate world. I was running the rat race just like everyone else, but I did not see an end in sight. And the harder I ran in the corporate world, the more I was trading of my time, my sanity, and ultimately the things I really wanted out of life. Plus, I immediately saw results that proved that the system was actually working. I finally felt like I had found a system of ownership that I could predict and even control. For the first time, I felt like I was in the driver's seat of my financial plan, not being driven by the forces outside of my control. So here's how the strategy works. In year 1, you would buy 2 single-family homes using your money as a 20% down payment. Then you would get the bank's money via a 30-year mortgage to cover the other 80%. Already, this turns every single dollar that you're investing into 5 just by using leverage to buy a real asset. You, my friends, are in control and you are experiencing the power of ownership. Now, if you want to be financially free and you want to experience the power of ownership, it's important that you stay focused on the one asset that has the most demand and is the easiest for you to understand and be successful with: single family homes. Many professional real estate investors and YouTube personalities and big personalities out there on the internet, they want to lure you into bigger and sexier investments. But I promise you, this isn't what will make you financially free in 10 years or less. Stick with the basics, my friends. Simple 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family homes in good neighborhoods. You already have inherent expertise. You already know what a good neighborhood looks like and what a good house is because you've probably bought a few of them over the years for yourself. You've lived in these neighborhoods. Plus, banks, they will lend you as much money as you want if you are buying these type of assets. With this single act alone, your path to financial freedom will go 5 times as fast. This is the power of leverage. Now, don't let your head fill up with all of the reasons why you can't do this. Here are some of the last few homes that I've bought or people in my community have bought. If you don't have between $20,000 and $30,000 to invest, then go get it. Stop putting money in accounts like 401ks. Redirect your money elsewhere. Look, here's a home that I bought just recently for $135,000. My friends, in order for me to buy this house right here, I had to have a little over $25,000 to put down, and the bank gave me the rest of the money to buy this house. What's more, immediately upon buying it, someone was living in it, paying a rent every single month that was covering the entire mortgage plus some. And if you don't think you can stretch it, check out this house right here. It's a little bit smaller, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but my friends, this was $109,000. That means you could get into this home for just over $20,000. Do not let excuses of "I don't have enough money" stand in your way. Again, if you don't have the money, get it. Your future self demands it. Now, let me walk you through the numbers so you can see how this strategy delivers more than 6 figures of tax-free income for life in as little as 10 years. But before I do that, if you're finding this valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video because friends, they do not let friends retire broke. Now, my friends, there you have it. 6 figures of tax-free income for the rest of your life. Now, I'm sure you're in the same position of not fully understanding how 20 simple single-family homes could deliver 6 figures or more of tax-free income for the rest of your life. So let me break this down a little bit more clearly for you. There are 3 key aspects that make this strategy incredibly powerful. The first one is the power of leverage. Leverage is a force multiplier. In personal finance, the only way to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less is to use some form of leverage. Now listen, most people have been trained, taught, and educated to think that leverage is dangerous, and it can be if it's used irresponsibly. However, when you use it to buy real cash flowing assets like we did in this example, you are using leverage to create wealth. Now, a couple of the key aspects of using leverage is don't try to time the market. We're not selling high and trying to time everything perfectly. No, we're just buying good single-family assets and holding them over a long period of time. When you hold a real asset that has real demand over the long term, you stop gambling and you start entering the world of real investing. And the last part about using leverage effectively is keeping enough reserves. It is critically important that you have enough reserves to gain the profit 10 years out, 20 years out, 30 years out and beyond. And the only way that that comes to fruition is if you hold reserves in the back. My friends, reserves are the permission to use the power of leverage. And when you do so, it makes it nearly impossible to fail. The second principle that was making the numbers, this case study, so incredibly powerful was inflation. Listen, most people are and will continue to be devastated by inflation. When your money is in the market, inflation is slowly eroding and destroying the future value of your account and what your money can buy in the future, the very thing you're saving for. But when you use leverage to buy an asset like real estate, inflation actually makes you wealthier. A good investor knows how to use inflation to get wealthy, not just sitting back and hoping that inflation doesn't destroy too much of their wealth. The final principle in this is debt is actually money. In the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki says debt is money. Notice in this example that the income was coming from refinancing the debt you have with the bank. Now let's look at it from a tax perspective. When you go back to the bank and do a cash out refi, this is in essence increasing your debt with the bank. You are pulling the equity on the asset, the home, and the bank is literally giving you a check. Now that increases your mortgage, it resets the entire process. But the bank, in the example I just gave you a check for $150,000 on a cash out refinance. I demonstrated this in year 11 to show you what actually happens and how you're receiving income out of this portfolio. But my question to you is, when the bank gives you that check for $150,000, how much do you pay in taxes on it? My friends, the answer is zero. Better yet, you do not even report it as income to the IRS. Most people understand this conceptually, but they've never applied it in the principle of investing using a real asset. For most people, debt is the wrong kind of money. They get a credit card with a $10,000 credit limit and they go out and buy a bunch of liabilities with it. That $10,000, it was literally income in that year. They didn't have to tell the IRS that they got a $10,000 raise because they spent money on a credit card. No, because they use debt, they have a future obligation to repay that debt, but they still don't pay any taxes even though they received $10,000 of new money inside of their life. This, my friends, is the power of debt. Debt can literally be money. It all comes down to how you decide to use it. If you're like most people, you're going to use debt like a consumer, buying a piece of junk that you don't really need and trading your future time to pay that thing back. That is putting you in bondage. But my friends, when you use debt like an investor, debt amplifies. It accelerates every dollar that you put into the equation, accelerating your pathway to financial freedom and providing you, in this example, tax-free income for life. Further, when you use debt to buy an asset, your tenant is paying off the debt for you via the monthly rent. And when you choose to access the debt from your asset in the form of a cash out refinance, it works the same way as the credit card example. You receive money, you don't have to tell the IRS about it or claim it as income, and you pay zero taxes on it. But now you have money to spend any way that you want. Debt is money, my friends, so use it wisely. Listen, in this video, you learned the playbook to become financially free in 10 years or less. This is the exact playbook that I used to walk away from the corporate world in just 4 years. My friends, I've now helped hundreds, bordering on thousands of people using this exact same strategy. It's now time for you to take back control over your life, to achieve the American dream of not only financial freedom, but of ownership. Remember, the goal of this channel is to rise up and live free. Take control of your financial future today. That's it, my friends. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Today was a golden nugget. Join our community and start your journey to become financially free, and I'll see you on the next video.
Yes. That's